Should we check levels?
Oh, they look really small.
Not that you're a size queen or anything. That's the size it's supposed to be. Title of my sex tape. Hello and welcome to Incomplete Geeks, a gay geek podcast where we struggle with technology. And when we're not struggling with technology, we get together and we talk about all sorts of random geeky shit. Sometimes we know what we're talking about down to the T, and other times our knowledge is a little bit
incomplete.
That's right. So here we are. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. We've been working at this technology. And
it's taken 2 hours to realize we had like one switch wrong.
A switch.
On a
switch was the wrong way, and we couldn't work out what it was. We had
YouTube didn't help us. YouTube
didn't help us. We restarted the computer.
Everything, well, because it wasn't anything to do with the computer.
We swapped cables.
Swapped the mic. Like maybe the cable's broken. No, Nicholas. It's just not switched on. It's actually not switched on.
The wrong setting. The wrong setting was switched. But here we are. We're here bringing you all the hot gossip. I didn't know what I was
because
saying.
We have lost the will to live.
Oh, my
we were going to
frazzled.
talk about House of the Dragon, but then John didn't watch it.
How dare you drag me into this?
We were going to do X-Men, but now I've lost the will to live.
No, we've done a lot of X-Men.
We were going to do Voyager.
Yeah, we had that as an idea,
but where I'm not mostly prepared for that either, and haven't got my notes ready.
Well, but we could have done like one season, whatever.
We could.
So we were going to do The Boys, but you haven't seen it.
We're going to do The Boys, but I haven't watched it yet.
Doctor Who, but we're going to wait because the finale's
next week, and I don't know anything about
it. This week.
So we're just going to revert to what we really do know best.
Hot men.
Talking about hot men. Perving over hot men in different franchises.
Perving over hot men. So let's start because we've been waffling for so long.
For fucking hours. Oh, God.
I need to go home and Let's start. Nicholas, I've got a question for you.
Oh, God.
No, this is good. We're starting now. Let's get our brains into it. Why are there no hot people in Star Trek?
Because there's hot women?
Yes, that is the correct answer. That's exactly right, yeah. There's hot women in every version. I don't know. I haven't seen some
absolutely.
Recent ones.
Every single one has had its decade's version of hot women.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what women are for, to be pretty.
Of course.
And men are there to be brave and smart and badass and do whatever they want.
And be servants to the men and the captain.
Yeah, well, they're there to look pretty for the men and for the men to seduce and conquer and all that kind of stuff, which is a pretty universal trope in, I think, like all kind of sci-fi fantasy, right?
Yeah, unless you're specifically going out to be different. That is kind of the heteronormative stance, I suppose. Like it's especially it comes down to
who's creating it.
If you talk about who's creating it. If you talk about sci-fi in general, I mean, I'm sure we'll go to other genres,
but we'll start with Star Trek because I think that's a fun little
even in like novels. Let's talk about books for a brief second, because if you talk about sci-fi, which was started by like Isaac Asimov, that kind of era, a lot of it was still very heteronormative, and it took a writer like Ursula Le Guin, who's probably the most prominent female sci-fi writer probably ever still, and she was one who would start writing about like swap gender roles, or she wrote about a book where it was set on a planet, and there was like one Earth ambassador, and went to this planet, and the genders were people could swap genders, and that kind of context, like what does that mean, and it just sort of was so unique and so different. So if you're not out there to be unique and different, it's just heteronormative. The man is out there to conquer, like you said, and space as the final frontier to conquer and rape and pillage. And that's kind of where we get Star Trek, I suppose. The original series, anyway. Why are you looking at me like that?
That's so much more intelligent than what I thought we were going to talk about. I know we're just gonna talk about like
This is what I bring on this channel.
you're like it's like when Ursula is the most prolific female. I was like, what? I don't.
Have you never read anything by Ursula Le Guin?
I've not read.
I'll give you some things.
I've not read anything. Just
I mean, looking
fairly
at your,
confident.
Looking
that
at
I
your
don't know
bookshelf now, you've got you've got your Game of Thrones,
which I haven't read.
No, you've got some sci-fi on your bookshelf. I saw some the other day. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see it from here. But
I have some light fantasy, but no sci-fi.
I suppose fantasies.
On the different. Well, that was very intelligent. Thank you for starting us off on a very like highbrow note.
You're welcome. I'll go back to being.
So now let's go back to being sluts.
Yes.
Star Trek.
So the women were the sluts back in the original series.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with like the really short skirts kind of thing. Was that around back then as well?
What, in the original series?
The original series? Because you had...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you had... Uhura was in a skirt.
Uhura.
And that was it. She was the only main one.
Well, there was the blonde nurse woman.
Oh, yes, Nurse Chapel.
Chaplin?
Chaplin.
Who was in, the episode of Voyager where they go back... I think it was like Tuvok's memories and it's...
Yeah.
Sulu.
Yeah.
She's in that as well.
No way.
Yeah.
Aww.
She appears...
And
I think she gets like knocked out very soon or something like that. Yeah.
Fair enough. That seems about.
That was nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Nurse
I didn't know that.
But yeah, even someone like Nurse Chapel, because Uhura, she's an officer, and that was groundbreaking for the time as well.
Massively.
A black woman as a commanding officer.
And she did make out with Shatner at one point, right? But that
she
wasn't
made out
her.
with Sulu as well.
Did she?
I think so.
Bag hack.
Yeah, totally.
But that wasn't her purpose. Whereas the green aliens and every other alien, they were there just to be hot and bimbos and to be conquered by Kirk, thank you.
Yeah, the red shirts and the green aliens, they both served their purpose.
They sure did.
But yeah, that was it.
Hot guys though?
None.
Not really.
None.
Was Shatner hot in the day?
Probably.
Do you think?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
It's really it's hard to imagine he's not because he's not.
You know what he looks like now. He's what, like 80 something or something?
Yeah, but also like if you look at people in the like male celebrities in the 60s, they are dumpy, skinny, alcoholic kind of look. They're never physique, svelte,
clean
put together.
Shaven.
No, because that wasn't. They didn't have to.
Yeah,
there was no effort. So I maintain.
Well, that was the look. I
suppose. It wasn't hot. They were just there.
It wasn't definitely hot. It was definitely not hot.
They were charismatic, but they were not hot.
Yeah, well, they didn't need to be hot because they had.
For the purpose of this episode, they should be hot. That's my point. They weren't hot. They were just charismatic.
True. Agreed. So, Next Generation? Still.
It's just Frakes?
Is it the same?
Do we think Frakes was hot?
Oh my god, he was the guy.
But he wasn't.
You mean my doppelganger?
Yeah. Do you think he? Did people think he was hot?
He was. I think he was meant to play that role.
But again, charming, charismatic, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But like hot, it just wasn't a requirement. It just wasn't what people thought of. I guess male TV stars.
True, and I think at the time like, he filled that role that Kirk and I don't know who else. The seducer. He has to sleep with the green aliens.
Suave
man, yeah.
Because Picard can't do it because he was 105 years old, so he's not allowed to go and sleep with.
If he was 105 back then,
yeah.
What is he now? But no, Picard was there because they took a. I mean, I don't know if it was a gamble actually. I don't know, but they basically made a choice to bring him in, this Shakespearean type of actor who can command in a different way. And it worked. It really
Oh my god, it worked so well.
But then they had to have the number one be the sexy one.
Yeah, for sure.
But the women? Any women who were sexy?
Diana was supposed... It's very 80s. Diana. She was a very 80s look. Very
she was
flat-butted, big head.
I mean, that scene with her and Dr. Crusher in the leotards, whatever. That's about it. So I guess... so no hot men, though. We had the hot women. But even then, in like the late 80s, early 90s, they were kind of going away from having that obvious sex object kind of mentality. Was that the one where like in the first episode there was a man walking past and he had the skirt?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. That was Next Gen.
Bing, bing, bing. So there we go.
Yeah, but the purpose of the men was never to be eye candy. It was always to be a character, wasn't it, Sarah?
Yeah.
To be like you like how smart they are, how clever they are, how badass they are, how charming they are. It's never their physical looks that was prioritized and still isn't really in most media.
Heaven forbid we give a female character some actual character.
But the thing is, they can be, because we love the female characters most. Like I'm a big Deanna, but they had to be pretty and interesting, whereas the men could just be interesting. There's never a requirement of them to be pretty.
Yeah, I mean, imagine would you have an ugly woman on a show like that? They would never.
No, because they can be complex and weird and cool and badass, but they have to be pretty of some kind.
Pretty, they have to be good looking.
Yeah,
I mean, to a certain degree, everyone has to be a bit good looking, but you can get away with being not good looking. More
I mean, I would challenge. Like God, fucking none of the men were.
And
Geordie was kind of hot.
You think?
Of all of them.
No, he was so bookish, though.
Yeah, he's a Reading Rainbow.
I know, I loved Reading Rainbow.
But, like...
Don't take my word for it. Read it yourself. Whatever the line was.
I was like, I don't remember that much. He's probably, like, physically of the Next Gen cast.
Yeah.
He's hot-ish. And Riker was But Riker was always... Because he was just 6 foot everything.
Like, suave and dashing.
He always had a gut on him and everything like that. You know,
with guts. I got one. Right
now. We all do, but I'm not a TV star.
True.
So I don't think he's
fine.
hot.
What about Data?
No.
He had that weird sex scene with Tasha Yar in the first.
Yeah, but then
season.
it's awkward and it's not
bizarre.
Hot at all. It is not hot at all.
And he does like mention having sex with, I think with her, like later on. He's like, I know about
fully functional penis.
Yeah.
He is fully functional.
Thank you. Vikram Singh or whatever his name is.
Oh, Dr. Sun.
Sung.
Sun?
Vikram
That's
Singh
right.
is a golfer, I think. That's Khan.
Nunyan Sun.
Nunyan Sung? I forget. Thank you,
We're not complete,
Professor.
kids.
We're not complete.
We don't remember the names of some of these characters.
Okay, let's go through the rest of this. Isn't a Star Trek episode.
No, we were supposed to whiz through these. I don't know many of the characters in DS9.
Was Voyager next or DS9?
DS9 was next because they launch from DS9, don't they?
I mean, I quite like. Oh, what's his name? Who's the guy?
I don't know, what, the skinny doctor, Cisco.
Cisco.
Yeah, but again, no, he's dashing. He's commanding presence. He is not aesthetically good looking or ripped.
True.
He's just a captain.
And even like there's a shapeshifter in that one as well, who is
Renee. Yeah.
Renee. Odo.
Yeah.
And he's like,
and that's what he chose to look like.
I know.
Come on.
I think they explained that one episode where he doesn't quite look like a human for some reason. He didn't get it right, or whatever. But whatever.
That's cute.
But yeah, like if you're gonna have a character who can shapeshift, why would they not be like the most gorgeous character?
Nothing.
Anyway.
And then the doctor
again, I
with
think he's
some string bean, whatever.
dashing. Women, I don't know any women on that show. Wasn't there? What's her face?
There's the Bajoran, whose name I've forgotten.
Starts with a K.
Yeah. And then the one with the symbiote one.
Mm-hmm.
She was pretty. She was hot.
Is it Dax?
Dax?
Jadzia
Dax. Whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
She's pretty.
Someone will write in and tell us.
She's hot. She's an ex-model kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's hot. The uniforms make everyone fairly frumpy, doesn't it?
Frumpy.
Well, because it takes, apart from Deanna and 7 of 9, everyone's in these blazer jackets or jumpsuits that look awful.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, they could maybe they are hotter, but...
Except for that one man who wears a skirt. Do you think he had a bit of a tight-fitting boobie?
For him, get it out. No one stands out as hot.
Nope.
You could fancy them, of course. I'm sure plenty of people did, but none of them are hot.
Star Trek Voyager, again.
Not a single one.
None of them are hot.
Not a single. And if you dare say fucking Tom Paris was hot, we will come to your home.
He's talking to you, listener, not to me, by the way.
And punch you in the nuts. No, because I know you can't stand him either. No. And if you say Chakotay, fucking Robert Beltram. Anyway, no. So there's no hotties, man-wise. Whereas 7 of 9, objectively gorgeous.
And she's, speaking of objectively, she's there to be the object.
Object. Belana, I think, is beautiful as well in a alien, sexy woman, weird kind of way.
Kind of hot way.
It's like, too much. And then
get out of my face.
Janeway was obviously a poised and pretty, but the God, they went over her hair and like how she's supposed to look, that and that sort of stuff. So there's more of expectations of how she looked.
True, but again, she's not the sex object. She's
No.
the captain. You know, that was
I love her so much. Anyway, we can't get into that now. We're here to talk about the lack of hot men, and there were none. However,
moving forward,
there was, when I did a rewatch of it,
Yeah.
whichever time, and I think I posted it on Insta. I think it must have been one of the
give me a season or something.
early on.
Okay.
Like it would have been for the 1 to 3. So one of the, oh God,
You're waving your hands.
Like
Is this
Belana and Marquis.
Chakotay?
There we go.
Okay,
One of the Marquis. He's clearly he's a background character, and he was one of the Marquis. And he's this square-jawed, tall, buff, gorgeous guy who never
right.
gets a line. And I'm like,
Oh.
really? We got Chakotay and not this hot thing? We had Tom fucking Paris and Harry Kim.
my
And
God.
there's this hot stud machine who could have just been like man candy. Even if he doesn't say anything, he could be the guy that's always in the background going,
He could be like the security guy.
yes, Captain. Oh, he's gorgeous. I'll see if I can find the photo of him somewhere. But
Post it, yeah.
so they could.
So
My point is, they
you're saying
could have.
they existed.
They
back then.
existed, and they could have. And the casting director, or whoever, was like, "Oh, this guy's hot. We'll put him in." You could have made this happen, but
They knew.
you chose.
Wasn't that the first show that they had a female showrunner as well?
Oh my
Is it
God!
Terry
One of the
Taylor?
showrunners, yeah.
Did she do Deep Space Nine as well? I don't know.
Don't remember.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was her. She's like, we need a hot man as well.
Like they could have put that. They could have just had all the background people just be hot guys.
That would have been a bit too obvious, though. I think.
No, I love it. That would have been great fun. Not even the guys on the holodeck are that hot.
I mean, come on.
They
If you
have
a fucking holodeck.
Because in season, I think it's season. No, it must be 3 because I think Kess is still there. 3 and 4. They really they lean into that holodeck cabana thing.
Yeah.
So there's always people there in like teeny tiny robes. With
That is true. Yeah,
like
and
Riker with the boob out.
there's some men in. There's some
Yeah.
men in there.
There's definitely, but they don't talk.
No,
So they have
of
the
course
hot chicks and the hot himbos as well.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, they consciously chose not to have them. Disgraceful.
But they existed. How dare you? All right, next show. I haven't seen Enterprise. Was it the next one?
I didn't watch Enterprise.
Don't know about that.
Scott Bakula's not hot enough to carry that show. Clearly, otherwise it wouldn't have been cancelled.
Poor Scott. I remember.
Basically, there we can fast forward through these. There were no hot ones until Strange New Worlds.
What about what's his face in the pilot in Picard?
No,
What's his name? You
he's
think
not
so?
hot enough. I know what you mean, and that's good effort, but he's not hot enough. He's annoying.
Okay.
Do you think he's hot enough?
I think he's very good looking, definitely, for sure. What somebody told me
Well,
about,
like they try with him, and they try with the fake Klingon guy in Discovery. That feels like we're trying. Oh, you haven't watched it?
No. I haven't
Oh,
watched
well,
Discovery.
spoiler. He's not really human. He's a Klingon.
Oh no!
I mean, and he's like,
I'll forget
"Oh, you're
by the time I
fine.
watch it.
You're fine," but they're not hot. We don't
Right.
get hot men until Captain Daddy and Hot Spock,
Yes.
who are hot men. Not, oh, he's quite cute. Oh, he's quirky. Like, oh, I love him when he does this. No, he is hot. He is hot. Topless hot, topless, topless hot.
But are there also hot women there as well?
In Strange New Worlds, have you
Yeah.
not watched it?
No, of course not.
Oh.
I
Yes.
know what you-
Yeah.
I watched it through you.
Oh, it's live vicariously
Bowie.
through me. Yeah, they're like Uhura's hot in it. The security officer woman, she's hot in it. Rebecca Romaine is number 1, who is hot. She's older now, so she's not the bombshell she once was. Blah blah blah.
Because he's Captain Pike, isn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah.
It's a mostly female cast.
No, how much?
Nurse
of that-
Chaplin is in it, but obviously a young person, that sort of stuff.
Right,
She's
okay.
hot as well. Like even the doctor, whose accent drives me nuts, and he's a terrible actor because he was the guy that died in Dune, whatever. He's hot.
Okay.
Banging bod.
The guy who dies in Dune.
The annoying guy who does like this. It's like the black guy who dies in the desert because he like challenges Chimichi Chalamet.
Oh. Okay.
He's the doctor in
Right.
Strange New Worlds.
Okay.
And like he's annoying, but he's hot.
Okay.
So this was the first time they've actually chosen. Like, let's have some hot fucking actors
So how much of that
who
is,
are
do you think,
still
is like
charismatic and charming and silly and good,
Yeah.
but they're hot.
But is that because nowadays we can get away with that, and they couldn't, or we just sort of people are.
Well, nowadays they give a shit that women watch. I think up until the
So it's still
2000s,
straight.
they're like,
It's still a straight effect.
I assume so. Yeah, I don't think they're doing it for the gays. I think it's helpful, but
Yeah.
it kind of rounds it out so you can get more gays and some more girls, rather than thinking everything is just for straight men.
Just for the boys.
It's like, no, like half of your audience is not straight men.
I get
so,
it.
you know, possibly. So that's Star Trek.
So let's move on from Star Trek. What were we going to talk about? Like, what other sort of TV properties have?
Buffy.
Buffy. Okay, let's talk about Buffy.
So it could be
fantasy,
interesting.
not sci-fi.
Yeah. So, a lot of fantasy and a lot of sci-fi we're saying is written for the male gaze, right? Like it's not the male gaze,
Not us male gays.
not us male gaze,
But like the gaze
but
of the
for
males.
the look that men find attractive. So whether that's men they aspire to be
Yeah.
and women they want to fuck. Something that is a little bit different is like the vampire-y, romance-y
Yeah.
side of it,
Yeah.
which men like vampire stuff, but the kind of core audience of the Buffys, the True Bloods, that sort of stuff.
True Blood.
That's for your girls and your gays, because
yeah.
that is our kind of lustful stuff.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't think that Buffy was intended for the gays at the beginning.
No, but because it's a vampire thing, and the female, and the lead is female.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not male exclusive, right? It's not going to be a focus on men 18 to 25. Their demographic will be including girls.
I wonder if they still wanted to go for that, because that if you want to have your 18 to 25 straight male demographic who just still wanted to watch the show because they wanted to fuck Buffy.
Yes, I'm sure they
obviously
did.
and the other characters,
Yes, I'm
whatever.
sure they did. But they cast David Boreanaz.
Yes, who everyone loves, and I don't blame them. Again, too clean shaven for me, but
I get that. That's fair enough. But that was it wasn't he's quirky and interesting and he's so nice.
No,
he's
he's
like,
dark
he
and
is a
brooding.
hot fucking stud and was cast to be a hot fucking stud.
yes, absolutely.
Did they have lots of other hot fucking studs in that show?
I mean, people like Spike, but I'm like,
Yeah, but his body was banging, so that's
Yeah.
fine. He put effort into that.
yeah, everybody. That's interesting because then actually the other males in that show, they had their roles as well. Like you had Giles, who was like
Hot
the male
daddy,
tutor.
yeah.
I don't know hot what. Angel's a hot daddy.
Angel's not a daddy.
Giles not a hot daddy.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, well,
okay.
no, he's like the father figure.
Okay.
Okay, you like him, and then you have like Xander was like just the regular
But
boy next
for
door.
the
kind of thing.
'90s thing, before it was a look that people liked. It's the Dawson's Creek kind of look.
What Xander was.
Yeah, floppy head, bad clothes, but goofy. Oh, he's so hot.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
actually,
yeah.
oh my god,
Yeah,
he looks good in a speedo.
Yeah, but
And he did look good. Nicholas Brendon looked good in that speedo,
Okay.
but he's a dick.
Yeah, I don't remember that scene.
Oh my
But then you have
God.
like Oz as well, who had a role. Like they all had roles.
Yeah, but he's not hot. People fancied him, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
Seth, oh my god, you're so hot. Let's cast you as this hunk. No.
No.
But they did plenty of that with other vampires and other characters and that sort of stuff.
They did.
Like
Coming in and out.
True Blood, it's just all hot guys.
Oh my god.
It's
and
just
the werewolves
dripping.
as well.
Oh my Seed. Oh my
So you
god.
had- I mean, that was obviously a
Any
breakthrough role.
fairy, any vampire, any mythical creature, it was so for the female gaze and the gay gaze.
And the gays.
And
Because all
it's
the
just all hot people.
It was all the normal people except for Ryan.
Oh,
No, what was his-
Jason? Yeah,
Jason.
Ryan Quanten.
Ryan is the actor.
Oh.
He's the only like regular person who, but then he has like fairy blood in him, I suppose, or whatever.
No, he doesn't. It's just Suki.
Suge. Yeah, he was the only regular person who was hot. And the thing is, like, because in that sort of that deep south kind of mentality, everyone had their clothes off. It was fabulous. Now I'm thinking of like
I missed
the
that show
mayor
when it was
and
good. Yeah, all the police
the
officers
police
and
officer,
all those kind of idiots.
sheriff, whatever.
Yeah. So the difference being, who the audience is for. So they packed, and if it's a vampire theme, that's going to be for a female,
Absolutely
queer audience.
interesting.
So
Yeah.
they packed that full of sexy men.
Honorable mention to that one guy who moves to Alaska, who
His friend that was
the-
in love with the vampire, or
yeah.
and then comes. Oh, sorry for that.
And they, I didn't watch the last season.
It's so garbage.
The one who falls in love with the redhead, I forget her name.
Yeah. Jessica?
Jessica? Is it Jessica?
I don't know.
The one who's in Daredevil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deborah Ann Wall. That's her actor name, but anyway.
Her actor name.
Actor name, yeah. The tall guy who's like another normal schmo who just gets his memory erased and goes.
Like he could have been hot, but wasn't. He's one of those who was like, "Oh, you're cute.
Yeah, I want to hug you, cuddle you." But there was Alexander Skarsgård who got his big break in that show. Let's be honest, and also
Joe Manganiello.
Elsie Hairful.
But a lot of them, any of them, like, oh, here's a random fairy. That vampire who was Warlow, he was hot. He was part vampire, part fairy. Ugh, any of them.
I forgot about this character. Anyway, Bill was even that hot, but he was meant.
Bill was not hot.
Bill was hot.
Bill was not hot. He was the you're sensitive type. What about?
Are we on the same show? What are you looking at me? What are you doing?
I can't get his name.
Are we in the same show?
Yeah. He was human.
A human?
The black gay guy who died.
Oh, the black guy. Yes.
What's his name? What's wrong with me?
Lafayette.
He was hot, and his Hispanic boyfriend
was really hot.
So hot. And James the Vampire, the original and the reboot, both hot.
James the Vampire.
Yeah, he was. I've forgotten who he was, and then and he was so sexy, and then they recast him for the final season as someone else who was also sexy.
I don't remember this.
It doesn't matter. He's just different types of sexy.
Okay.
I'm gonna look him up because he's now someone that I also.
Is the actor James or is the character?
The character's called James, and he's like a vampire that's kept prisoner, and he has to fuck Jessica in front of them.
What?
Because they're
Jessica
like
the redhead.
Yeah, because they're like studying and that sort of stuff.
They're studying.
Anyway,
James. Yes, that show was meant to be like sexy, hot, deep south. Everybody's sweating and murders, whatever. But yeah, that's a good one.
Who are you now? I know who. Oh, fucking hell! Bear with me. Luke Grimes. It's fucking Luke Grimes. I knew it was someone famous.
Oh.
Yes. Who is now a grown-up and hot and probably has a beard. Anyway, yeah. So anyway,
as in the Grimes famous family. No, I'm just kidding.
So where there's vampires, there's hot men.
Oh, who was in 50 Shades of Grey?
Which one? Luke Grimes?
Luke Grimes was in the film. He's in all of them. He was the brother of.
And then they recast James in the final season, and he was a different kind of hot, but still hot.
Right.
So anyway, long story short, space, no hot guys. Vampires,
fantasy,
all hot guys.
Yep.
No, fantasy's different. Lord of the Rings.
No, I mean Buffy and
vampires
it's gothic fantasy. Yeah, not elvish fantasy.
What other fantasy stuff are there with hot guys or without hot guys? Because like the famous one is Lord of the Rings, right? No hot guys.
Hold on. Are we talking about films or the recent TV show?
Well, I suppose Legolas is hot. And Aragorn is hot.
Aragorn.
Okay, never mind. I take it back. Never mind. Sorry. Disregard that. I forgot about. I was thinking of the little things.
The hobbits. No one cares about the hobbits.
And then the TV show with all the stupid hobbits and all the kind of
TV show. I mean, what's his face? Is hot? Halbrand. Yes. Got there. Yeah.
Which one's that?
The one who turns into Sauron at the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, he was hot.
Yeah, he was hot.
He was hot, but not like groundbreakingly hot. But yes.
I think he was quite hot.
Okay. No, eyebrows are going. Okay, fair enough, yeah.
Although, yeah, the story was left a bit to desire, but also he was effective.
And Legolas was hot, and Aragorn was
definitely
100% hot. So what is it about? Is it the time period that they started wanting to not just make male characters cool, dashing, and charming? They're like, they have to be objective because it's a movie versus a TV show.
I think it was they had to sort of bring in these create these male characters or just portray them as in a way that wasn't just I'm captain, therefore it was such a compelling story that they a backstory and the motivation for these characters that you were there to sort of root for them, and the fact that they, I don't know, like again, okay. Well, Lord of the Rings famously has very few female characters in it, and so if you want to make a show like that or a film like that for more than just the boys, you've got to give them a reason to watch, I suppose. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Kind of, really, not really. I don't know. But yeah, so
Yes.
okay, good. Because I do tend to ramble if I don't.
No,
But-
I think it's because it was a film and not just a little TV show. It had to have much more universal appeal because
Yes.
it was an incredibly expensive, high budget film. It had to
That's
have
what I was trying to get
had to have
at.
hot boys in it to capture as much. The 4-quadrant movie that they would always try and make, isn't it? They always want
4-quadrant.
so a 4-quadrant movie, which I don't think actually exists
Because
because
you're trying to be intelligent now. Look at that. Tell me.
I
yeah.
got it from a podcast. So yeah,
Oh, right.
it's just the different demographics that you're trying to get. So like your young men, young women, old women, that sort of stuff.
Aha.
And a 4-quadrant movie appeals to
Appeals to all
everyone.
4, yeah.
It's not necessarily ever true, but you got to
Yeah.
hedge your bets, and you're gonna have to
Yeah.
have Aragorn and Legolas to
Yeah.
try and capture, to get the girlfriends to be like, yeah, I'll go and watch it.
Yes, that's an interesting point. That the girlfriends. Oh, I suppose I'll watch it. Like, they're
Fine.
not-
It's like, oh, Orlando. Okay. Yeah, I'll watch the second one. Yeah, I'll watch the director's cut.
Sure, I'll
yeah,
watch
man.
it,
Yeah.
They're not gonna go out and watch the fuck's sake. They're not gonna go out with the boyfriends to watch Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan because there's no hot boys.
Khan! No, they probably are not. They'll be like, you know what? You go.
You go. I'll do women's stuff.
Yeah,
I'll go
I'll
to
hang out
bridge
with the
with
girls.
my friends. Okay, so that's Lord of the Rings is true, and we did the TV show and the film. Now the other one.
Well, the TV show is so modern. I think modern stuff, if you want, again, and it's so high budget, you have to have hot people in it.
The other elf that was in the show, he was really hot as well. I forget his name. The black one.
The black one was hot, but
Yeah.
the stupid blonde one wasn't hot. The one who hung out with the dirty fucking dwarves, he wasn't hot. Sorry.
What you mean the wizard that fell from the sky?
No, there's an elf that goes and hangs
hung
out with the one.
dwarves.
Yeah.
Oh no, he was.
Nah.
Oh,
Not hot.
Yes. Hugo Weaving in the film. What's his name? I forget his name.
Oh God, yeah, it's Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
Not hot.
in the film.
Sorry, man.
No. He's fine.
If he's listening to this, call in and tell us why you're hot. You know what? I'll probably change my mind.
If you're the actor who portrayed the black elf, definitely call in and let us know.
Please do. Yes.
Send photos.
07414. No.
Incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com.
We talked about Star Trek.
Do you want to talk about Star Wars?
We should talk about Star Wars.
Because everyone. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So we had the films.
That is a film-focused franchise.
Absolutely. And only recently did it go to. They're really doing well with the TV shows.
Yeah.
Have you seen the recent one, The Acolyte? No, I've heard.
Have you?
No, I've heard various things about it.
This is not a Star Wars podcast. Clearly, we're not fans of the Star
Look at our logo.
Wars.
It has the open box for this.
It's
Not
like
ticked.
not ticked.
But the beginning, like you had, obviously Mark Hamill wasn't meant to be the sex.
Harrison
object, but
fucking
Harrison
Ford.
yeah. Did I ever tell you that my dad, when he was younger, he was like, people called him a cross between Harrison Ford and Kurt Russell. That's
I
what he
think you
looked
did
like.
tell me that, and I can totally see that if he's your
Yeah.
genes. Yes.
Yes, my jeans. Thank you, Daddy. Wait, I mean.
Oh, thanks, Daddy. Oh, thanks, Daddy. Thanks, Daddy Wax.
That's not what I meant.
But was Harrison Ford considered a sex symbol, or was he
Yes.
just a man? He was just a man who was in shows, who was just a character. He wasn't objectively fit or looked after himself or pretty.
True.
He was just Indiana Jones, Star Wars, gruff, moany man.
I think because he had that roguish character. Where
So
he
he's
was
charming,
the
not
charm,
hot.
But that was enough to get the girlfriends to go along to
Sure.
watch it.
I'm not discounting the power of charm. I'm just saying, not hot. Like he was not cast because he's not cast the same way that
Okay.
Joss Whedon cast David Boreanaz. He's like, this guy's hot and the women are gonna die. No, Harrison Ford was cast because he had the right attitude for it.
Attitude and
not
charm,
for his
like-
hotness and looks.
Like, not give a shit kind of. Yeah. But Yoda, on the other hand,
Babe.
was
Total
so
babe. What a fitty.
Like, if you're listening, text me.
Um,
But like through those 3 films, there wasn't really any. No hotties.
again, the oldies. No.
Okay, that's oldies. So let's fast forward. We had nothing came out until the prequels, I guess, because by then you had Liam Neeson and
Liam and Ewan, again,
And Ewan were-
not hot. Charismatic, people fancied them. Sex symbols, fine.
strong characters.
If you want to jerk off to Ewan McGregor, God help you.
Handsome,
But not hot.
but not like.
Not hot.
You know.
Quirky, charming, charismatic, fine.
No,
not
the reason we're talking about this as well,
hot.
the reason we're pointing this out, that they're not hot, because there were still, even in the olden days, there were still hot women in the shows. Like you had Princess Leia in that
Yep.
next to nothing get up
Yep.
as a slave to Jabba the
Yeah,
Hutt.
because the purpose was not for men. Men didn't have to be hot.
Exactly.
They were arrogant, charming, charismatic. Women could be arrogant, charming,
Yeah.
charismatic, but had to be hot as well.
But their role was meant to be
To be
the
the hot-
sex
to be the
object.
hotness.
Yeah. But in the prequels, did they have that as well? Because then you had Natalie Portman brought in.
Who was 14, so no, not hot.
What?
She was
When
when she started. She was a very young.
when she was doing the Star Trek films,
Star Wars films.
Star Wars films. Don't kill me.
I don't know if she was 14, but she was very young, as was Keira Knightley, who was her twin copy double, and it wasn't she.
Keira Knightley was in the Star Wars films.
Yes, as Queen Amidala's body double.
That was Keira Knightley
Yeah.
in the body and the
Yeah.
number 2.
I don't know which one it was, but like at
Well,
one
he's a
point you're
kid.
like, which one is she? And it's because like they'd have her, that was the whole point.
Keira Knightley was in the Star Wars films.
And like and like Natalie Portman
Yeah,
was
yeah,
running
yeah.
away
Pat-
because
Pat-
she
not
her
Padme.
double. Her double
Yeah,
was
yeah,
over
the
there,
double.
and it was Keira Knightley.
Are you kidding me?
No, I don't think I am.
No. Okay. I mean, I'm not saying no because I don't believe you, but I mean, like, what? But yeah, no hot peoples. No hot men.
No,
No hot men.
none
No hot men
in
babes.
none of the motherfucking prequels.
She played Queen Amidala's handmaiden, Sabe.
There you go.
Did not know that. Oh my god. I guess that's her.
Yeah, it's good there, right?
Well, I listened to this show because I learned new things, and she does look very young in that as well.
They were both young. Was Force Awakens was the next one, and love him or hate him, Oscar Isaac's hot.
Yeah, minus all the TV shows, like they did a couple, like not obviously cartoons, whatever. There's something. Anyway, so Force Awakens, Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac's hot. He is hot. He may not be your taste, but he's hot.
Yeah, I don't know.
He is hot.
I don't know what it is.
But he is hot. But you may not like him, but he's hot.
Okay, yes.
For
yes.
people who fancy him, they fancy him because he's hot
yeah,
and charming, whatever, that sort of stuff. And wildly inappropriate with Jessica Chastain. That was weird. If you know, you know.
I don't. But let's move on.
We'll just carry on.
He's kind of the only one though who's like meant to be.
Finn was not. He's Finn, right?
Finn is what? No, he's Poe.
He's Poe.
He's Poe
Finn
Dameron.
wasn't hot.
Finn
He was
wasn't-
not.
No,
No.
because his role again is he doesn't have to be hot because he's the one who's the rebel.
Yeah.
who, has
Adam Driver.
moral-
Again, Adam Driver. I find him
he
hot.
is the hottest person alive right now.
I find him hot,
He's,
but I don't think But he's not hot.
he's not hot.
He wasn't cast
He's
to be hot.
He's like sexy.
Well, his
but not
body's
hot.
amazing and he's enormous and a wonderful actor, but that he's not. He's not
Yeah.
hot.
He's not
I
like
find
your-
him sexy.
Yeah.
But he's not hot.
He's not like the pinup.
He's not
kind of put him.
aesthetically chosen. It was like great bone structure.
You're not
Put him
going to
in.
take his centerfold out of Teen magazine and put it up
If
on
he was
your wall.
topless, I absolutely would have.
Yeah.
Oh my god, if a teenage Nick was around, I would have jerked off to him all the time. Anyway, can you imagine having HBO as a kid?
Imagine the kids that have HBO now.
I know.
Mommy, can I watch Game of Thrones? No.
Anyway, so yeah, Oscar Isaac.
That's about it. That's all you got.
The other one I have is not from that. It's from one of the spin-offs, and I cannot pronounce his surname.
Mm-hmm.
Alden
Alden Ehrenreich,
Yeah.
the guy who plays young Han
Young.
Solo.
Hot.
Okay.
He is hot, and he was chosen because he's hot and charismatic. Bit of a dick in real life, but whatever. He's hot.
I heard about that.
Right?
Yeah. And poor Danny Glover as well.
Also,
Danny
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover is hot, but not hot. He's not a heartthrob, is he?
No.
His job isn't
think
to be hot. His job is to be Lando Calrissian, charming,
Yeah.
swagger, sexy.
Yeah.
Which he does great.
I didn't watch that.
You
I didn't
do
watch that film.
great. It's garbage, but I loved it. I think it's my favorite Star Wars
Yeah.
one.
I,
Is
mean,
Solo.
I say I feel bad for Donald Glover because
Phoebe
he's
Waller-Bridge was fucking hilarious in
incredibly
that show.
talented. But what is she? Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in that as well?
Yeah, she's the robot. So fucking funny.
Oh, right.
Tandy Newton's in it as well, and I love Tandy Newton. We should watch
yeah.
this again. No, we shouldn't. It's
Um,
not worth it. So, starting to introduce the hot ones with the new ones, right? It seems to be this kind of running theme. Olden days, you didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But when you're modern films, more money is like, we need to have some hot for the
I
girls
mean,
and the gays.
Even Diego Luna, who was in Rogue One, and wasn't he? He's Andor as well, isn't he? He's hot.
No, he's not.
Yes, he.
You can find him hot, but he's not hot.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
he's not a heartthrob. He's not cast for his pure aesthetic looks. He's cast for his charm, charisma, acting, whatever, that sort of stuff.
maybe it's just that kind of that Latin American kind of.
Absolutely. And I
Wow.
don't... 100%. But, you know, we're being superficial here on the...
True.
Chosen for your looks and like, look, we have hot people in our film. It's like, you need to do a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit more than Diego.
I mean, you're being compared against like Elsie Turvo and you know, like that kind of.
We're back on True Blood again.
I know. I can't. I've not stopped thinking about it since we mentioned it.
No, I haven't. It's very difficult.
Is it difficult or is it hard?
It's hard.
Right. So, any other spin-offs that are from Star Wars that have hot people's hot boys?
What other spin-offs were there? Lots of them.
What?
Lots of spin-offs? I don't know.
There's been a lot, and I haven't seen any. I mean, even the Obi-Wan spin-off didn't really have any.
I enjoyed
it wasn't
Obi-Wan,
about
but
that,
he
though.
wasn't hot.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still Ewan McGregor.
What about Mandalorian? Are there any hot people in that one? What are you looking at me for?
Who's the Mandalorian?
Who's the Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Are you asking me?
Do you know who the Mandalorian is?
I don't remember.
I've forgotten his name.
The actor.
And we love him.
He's not in a
He's
suit the
Mr.
whole time, isn't he?
Mr. Fantastic.
Not Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal is the Mandalorian.
What?
Yeah.
But has he been in the show since the beginning?
Yeah, but just the voice.
Are you kidding?
There's like one scene, I think, in the first series, because I didn't watch season 2, where he does take the helmet off and it's him.
In season 2?
No, in season 1.
Oh, right, okay.
But he is like, yeah, that's not me. I was like, I just do the voice.
How did I not know that he was
Yeah.
the main character? Well, he was the voice
He's
anyway.
the Mandalorian.
Fucking hell. Oh, right, I'm so dumb.
So yes, there
But,
is
like,
a hot person in
yeah.
Mandalorian, but
Again,
also not
Latin
really.
American kind of... That sort of
True. See, that's where I lose objectivity there, because I was like, I can't understand how someone couldn't find him hot, but
the thing is,
Fine.
he is hot. Are we done with Star Wars? Is there anything else? He is hot because everyone knows him from
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Season 4.
Because he was pure sex in that.
Exactly. And
Naked,
he did
body
it so
banging.
well. Men and women. If you want to be a four corners show. Like,
Four quadrant show. He bangs all 4 quadrants.
Yes, he does. And so does his wife, who is also very attractive.
She's hot, yes. She's gorgeous as well.
In
But
Day of Armor.
that's not out of the ordinary to have beautiful women.
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be some more niche franchises that we don't talk about all the time. Because, like, I'm not going to talk about Marvel. There's no point.
No.
Because it's big budget, it's modern, and they're all hot. So there's a hot man in every film. So
I mean, Chris
done.
Evans. That's about it. That's all we need. That's all. And Hemsworth, obviously. That's all you need to do.
All of them.
Only
Yes.
that one. Only when his hair is cut.
Sure. Sure.
Did I ever tell you that my mom and I had like a really nice bonding moment? No, she might be listening to this as well. So hi, mom.
Oh, she probably hiya.
Like when Thor Ragnarok came out, we were watching the trailer and he had the haircut, and I looked at her. I was like, better with his haircut. And she's like, yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. My mum always shares when she talks about hot guys. She loves Luke Grimes. She's like, "Ooh, he's hot." I was like,
Yeah.
"All right, mother, calm down." Yes,
Yes.
he is. He was in True Blood and banged Jessica.
So we don't need to talk about Marvel.
No, because I feel like at that point, it's kind of obvious. Like if it's a big budget, if you want a star of that 4-quadrant massiveness, they need to be hot, tall, ripped, and they'll pay for it. And they'll make it happen.
Exactly.
I mean, Marvel's the kind of perfect example. They're the ones who kind of set that trend.
It is, because they cast, back in the day, not everybody, but they cast a lot of relative unknown actors.
Medium ones that just, and then made them ripped and insane.
Chris Pratt is another example where they plucked him from Parks and Rec, made him hot, and put him in a leather jacket.
And made him a dick. Yeah.
I don't think they made him a dick. I think he
brought out the dick that was always his true nature.
The dick was inside you the whole time.
The whole time. I wish. Not hit. Oh.
So not Marvel, but back to Game of Thrones. Let's start with it. We haven't really delved into it yet, but obviously we have
tons of hot guys done.
So many hot guys.
Tons of hot guys done. Again, universal appeal, massive budget, modern franchise.
And you had the hot women as well because they all had the boobs out, whatever. That was kind of
tons of beautiful, gorgeous hot women. But in order to have that universal appeal, which they had to for that amount of money they were spending on that show,
groundbreaking
and
show.
Because it is obviously it's based in a fantasy world, but it's a political drama with dragons and a hint of magic every now and then. That kind of interpersonal relationship drama, high level drama, is very suited to a female audience. So you don't want to you don't want to ostracize them by having hot, big-breasted women and 50-year-old dumpy, skinny men who like just
they die
sitcom dads and shit like that. No, it's like we need hot, banging bodied boys.
Hot banging bodied. You know what? It's amazing the breadth of female material there is for the straight female audience in terms of fantasy writing. There's a lot of it out there because obviously it's like very adjacent to like romance novels in a way.
Yeah.
With the hot man, but like if you have fantasy, maybe it's just my TikTok that I watch too much.
I was gonna say, I was like,
there's a lot of like interesting things. Like women love, generically speaking, a lot of women love reading that kind of sexy fantasy.
Oh yeah.
Material.
Oh yeah.
When I say fantasy, I mean like the fantasy genre with
living in the fantasy genre, but not super focused on the quest of Milthendor and grabbing the Baldur's Gate, I don't know, whatever, you know, all that kind of like magic system D&D kind of stuff that the guys like. Women are more. It's a stereotype, but you know.
Went into rage and flew across the ocean on his
roll for dexterity or whatever the fuck you do.
You can roll for dexterity. It's not very common though. Okay. You'd roll for like acrobatics or.
Okay, we'll do this another. We'll do another D&D one.
But speaking of Baldur's Gate, there's that one character that everyone goes on about.
Baldur?
No, I don't think he's a character. Gale. His name's Gale. What?
It's not the lead bald hot naked guy, is he?
He's the one. He's the prominent.
The Witcher. Sorry.
Slow down. He's the one that you can have a relationship with. You can shag. I've not played it yet. I don't know. Yeah, but write in. Tell me about Gale.
Who's listening. Gale? What are you talking about?
He's the guy who he's part of. I don't think he's part of your party as well. You bear with me.
He looks a little bit Neanderthal, but sure. All right, we're getting sidetracked here.
Anyway,
do we want to finish on Game of Thrones, or do we have some other ones that we want to?
The Witcher.
The Witcher. Yeah, I mean, crap show, but
how dare you say it's crap show?
But again, a very.
I mean, it's fantasy. You have the hot women as still, but obviously the main draw of that show is Henry Cavill.
There is
in the bathtub.
Okay, there's shows and films and franchises that have a hot male character, and then there's Henry Cavill. Because it's not like, you know, Aragorn is hot, and there's this thing, and they put them in this thing, and your hair is great, and he's hot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great story, all that kind of stuff. He's just part of it.
And did you know he broke his toe when he kicked the helmet?
Did he?
Yes, he broke
That's
his toe
why
in
he
real life.
cries. Wow.
He shouts out, yeah.
My point being, this show could be any old sack of crap, and Henry Cavill in a bathtub will sell it. So there's the level of hotness. It's almost gone too far at this stage with The Witcher. From there are no hot guys because we don't feel there's any point. That's not the purpose of these male characters. Men can be whatever they want. They don't have to be good looking, but women, you have to be good looking.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of the more evolution of like, in order to appeal to everyone, it needs to be more balanced, and we need interesting characters, both sides, but both hot. To kind of going a little bit further, it's like, who gives a shit about the character or the story or anything? Henry Cavill's in it and he's naked.
I hear what you're saying. I do.
And then he leaves and it's fucking Hemsworth.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Who is hot?
I mean,
He's
good looking,
hot.
but he does not hold a candle
to his
my
brother.
husband Chris.
He is hot.
I mean,
but
yeah.
No. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of like, yeah.
We'll see, and we could do an episode of The Witcher maybe. We were talking about it for a while, but I think that I think the show The Witcher, especially the first 2 seasons, especially the first season, it drew from such a rich fantasy world that you kind of have to have a good-looking guy as Geralt, but it could have stood on its own with just the story.
It couldn't. Not in my book, mate.
But in that way, it drew on just. I think that's the kind of fantasy that it pulls again, just the straight male demographic. So you do have hot Henry Cavill in it, so that the women see it as well.
And the gays.
Which I think also it kind of demeans why women watch fantasy, because it's not they don't watch it just for that kind of.
No, of course we're being very
watching
shallow,
it,
but that's what we do best.
And we do that, yes. But like you've got the female characters have an interesting journey as well, but kind of I'm thinking of Yennefer, who kind of goes a bit sort of villainous in a way, and then you have the young girl who's got her own story as well. But yeah. I get it, but but the obvious appeal is Henry Cavill.
Yeah, the sex is by far outweighs the appeal of, ooh, it's an interesting story about whatever.
It's about monsters, and it's based on a video game, and
blah,
it's
blah,
great.
blah, blah, blah.
And there's a lore, there's a story, there's a world building is done very well in that one, I think.
Yeah, but like the Lord of the Rings the show brings you in for the story and the world and the franchise, and then the hot guys are a plus. The Witcher is like, no one was, outside of hardcore fans, the general public, we're not interested in this world or this franchise.
Yeah, okay.
We're interested in Henry Cavill in a bathtub. Yeah. And it had an opportunity to bring in new fans, which I don't think it did, but...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that the season 2 and 3 kind of the viewership went down. But anyway, what else? We don't want to end on The Witcher.
I mean, I kind of do, because I feel like that's the full
spectrum?
The full arc. And we can go into lots of other ones, but we've been doing this for 55 minutes.
Well, dear listener, if we need
we'll
more
do
ideas.
A part 2. Let's do a part 2.
Please write in with your ideas. Hot men in we've done anything other than sci-fi and fantasy. Hot men in video. We kind of.
It's got to be a film or TV show. It's not a video game because that's too small an audience. Yeah. That sort of stuff.
Hot men
in franchises,
film franchises or TV franchise,
media
shows,
franchises and worlds.
Geeky stuff primarily, because you can find hot men in any sort of film, TV show,
soap
or whatever.
Operas and shit like that. Yeah.
What have we missed? Let us know. Write in at incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can contact us on Instagram or TikTok. Our handles there are at incompletegeeks. While you're there, follow us, like our stuff, tell your friends. It's all good fun. And
someone duetted us the other day. Did you see that? Someone stitched us the other day.
Oh, no, I didn't. On TikTok?
Yeah.
Oh, fun. You have to tell me about the TikTok stuff. I tell you about the Instagram stuff.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Thank you very much for listening. We apologize for the rants and the getting confused and the very shaky start to the episode. And I'm really sorry if we got anything wrong because you know what? We're stressed and we're not complete geeks.
But we are working on it.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.